Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Wimbledon Spiritualist Church. Happy Sunday. Oh, it's happier than that. I know it's dark, it's wet. Happy Sunday. There we go. That's how happy it is. And a special welcome to you in what is now 101st year of spiritualism in Wimbledon at this venue. I'm going to be live streaming some of this. It's predominantly on me. Every now and then I might, in fact, as we're going live now, I might sort of, as a test, get you all to wave in a minute. I'm going to try and record some archive footage, but I'm not going to record any of you getting your messages. If the messages are rubbish, I'll probably delete it from YouTube afterwards. But hopefully it's just a bit of an archive thing as we're trying to document bits of the church. So as it's me as a sort of one-man band, it's experimental if any of this works in the way that I want it to. But let me see, because I can bring you up, I think, as an audience. I now do this. There we go. Right. It'd be nice to get everyone waving. You can see it's live, otherwise all this bit would be edited out. But everyone on YouTube would think, what is going on? Right, back onto Zoom. Change that. Okay, so what we'll do is we do a hello, good evening, welcome again. And maybe everyone can just wave at the camera for 5 seconds. So, ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Wimbledon Spiritualist Church. Absolutely fantastic. For a debut appearance on YouTube, unless we've got any real professionals here, that was absolutely marvellous. Thank you so much. And nice to be able to record some of the archives. I'm also a debut author, so some of you may have seen my first book, Spirituality Simplified. Came out just before Christmas, and more than my mum have sort of brought a copy, which is really nice. But it's a set of standard operating procedures for the soul. The idea of me as a third generation sort of spiritualist was to try and produce a book that I wanted when I was first starting out, because for me, mediumship was less woo-woo and more sort of Sunday night. As I grew up as a kid, sort of coming to the church, knowing there was a life after death was very much part of my faith and belief system. And then religiously, I would call myself a spiritualist. I then spent years telling my mum and dad, I hope you don't mind that I don't follow in your footsteps. By the time I was a teenager, I was experiencing things that I wanted to formally develop. I'd also gone through the tragedy of having a friend murdered in a fight in Sutton, and then another friend that was killed in a car crash. And this was a major test of my belief of life after death. For me, mediumship is one of the ways that I practice my religion. Hopefully what we're going to do that later tonight. But there was an element of what else to the religion? What's the point of this? And actually, certainly from a definition or perhaps an understanding of God, I wanted to know if there really was an architect, a great architect in the sky making all these decisions. Because why do bad things happen to sort of good people? And then as my life and my experiences went through, I realized that my spirituality was more of an umbrella than it would as a religion. As human beings, we love labeling things. We label each other, we label places, we label religion. Founders of religion become so passionate they've got all the answers. They often inspire followers to choose them as leaders, and hence religion has evolved over a period of time. Marrying then an Irish lady sort of 20 years ago, 10 years ago, then having 3 kids, being brought up both Catholic and spiritualist. For anyone that's got experience of Catholicism, the oldest one has gone through his first Holy Communion, the middle one is. But when they go to their Holy Communion classes and they talk about Jesus dying on the cross, they can say, yeah, Dad talks about accepting the leadership of Jesus. And then they say, what about life after death? And when they should probably answer something about sinning, they say, that's where we prove there's life after death, and we give evidence from mediums. They're like, well, we're not so sure about that element of it. But actually, if you use a microscope or even your own eyes just to look for the common ground, you'll find that religion, faith and belief has plenty of room for everyone's major beliefs. We all fit neatly in there. Faith and belief becomes something that's quite private to you. But if you stand under the umbrella of spirituality, then most of us are probably walking our own journey in that direction of spirituality. So if anyone's interested in knowing a bit more about the book, do talk to me afterwards. And I know a couple of you already brought a copy, but absolutely thrilled to be able to put down on paper some of my thoughts. This semi-autobiography as well. It talks a little bit about the history of this church and the generations. But there's the hard sell on the book. And I was playing the YouTube video as well before we started. Tonight, you're here for mediumship. Ivan Lee's going to be on in about sort of 30 minutes time. Our job as mediums is to give you that satisfactory evidence of life after that change that we call death. Anyone here for that sort of experiment for the first sort of time? Okay, yes, fine. There's a couple of you. That's fine. Everyone else knows exactly what to expect. And as a medium, we work individually. Ivan and I work in different ways. You are often in charge of your communicators. Sadly, despite my training, I'm not a DJ. I can't take requests and connect you to the one person you want to know. But I ask that you remain open-minded. Your mind works best like a parachute. Keep it open to possibilities. Think about your second cousin twice removed, as well as the next door neighbor you had sort of 20 years ago, when someone from heaven communicates, because you're a bit like a taxi. And when you sort of come into a church for mediumship, you switch on the light, the communicator's coming through it. So I'm looking for you to understand that connection. Once I've given you evidence of who the communicator is, then we'll ask them to give you a bit of a message. There's no guarantee that, in fact, we definitely won't get round to everybody tonight. And actually, it could be that the same person ends up getting a message from both Ivan and I. It doesn't work in sort of any other discipline like that. But lots of theory I've given you. Shall I get on with it? Yeah, at least one person said, yeah, right. So first communicator is a lady. As this lady links in with me, she talks about she's family. So be connecting with someone in here, this lady, you would recognize her as family. She was a mother, she was a sister. Now, the letter J is important. Now, my mum's name is Jackie. She's very much alive and well. I know she's tired, but she was at the back a minute ago. So J often for me is symbolic about going over towards your mum's side of the family. But also my mum's mum was also June. And I keep seeing that definition of June. So June is either significant around an anniversary, or she's perhaps taken me to that generation. This would be a grandmother figure with you, but she's a mother and a grandmother. She's a sister. The letter J could be otherwise symbolic, as well as the June significance. The numbers 2 and 8 are important. I don't know if she's taken me towards either the 2nd of August or August of the 8th of February, or it's number 28. My dad's birthday is 28, and I keep seeing that in the calendar. He's 28th of December, in case anyone wants to send him a card. Make sure it's a bar humbug one. He wants to make sure his birthday is his birthday and not ruined sort of by Christmas. But 28, I think, is important. I think it's around a date. So we've got one lady hand there. Anyone else? Okay. What was your name, please? Ryan. And Ryan, can you accept everything I've just said? Yep. And is it a grandmother that's connecting with you? Or certainly this lady would be a grandmother and a mother and a sister?
Yeah, she's my mum.
She's your mum. And do you understand that significance? Because I know that my mum is Jackie and I've got June, but the J is also important with you.
J is quite a common initial with my brothers and sisters and my dad.
In the family, okay. And the numbers 2 and 8?
It's my birthday.
Your birthday, okay. Thank you, Ryan. It's okay if I communicate with you, right? So as she links in with me, she was also talking about changing her hair. I feel that I've had an element of pride with my hair, and I feel I'm back into a previous season with my hair, because she talks about getting her hair sorted and done. She said, I've reproduced my body. I've sorted my hair out because I've done it without any of the imperfections. And once I sorted my hair, there was a few other things I wanted to take care of. But the hairstyle she's showing me, I feel like I'm having either a set perm or fixed sort of curls to it. Would you understand her going through like emotions of wanting to sort of formalize the sort of curls of her hair?
Possibly.
Yeah. I've got also an element of making my hair darker. I don't know if my hair's gone lighter towards the end of my life, but I'm sort of making it darker again. Okay, thank you. The letter F is important. F for foxtrot, for Fred or a Frank. I've got a for a sounding sort of noise. We'd understand why I should be talking about the F?
No.
Let me ask her about it. Frank Fox. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. So there's someone at the back. Do you understand all of this? Okay. Right. Keep the mic from Ryan for the moment, because right. The woman that's communicated with me just said, I know Ryan, I don't know her. But then someone else said, I know her. Frank, would that be part of your message within the communicator? You'd understand everything else I've said? Yep. Right. Right. I think I'll be coming to you next. 2026, especially January, is like 200 days. It's an expensive month. So this is what we call an economy message, where you get buy one, get one free. But Ryan, I'm with you at the moment, right? Because the woman sort of, she said, I don't know her. And someone said, I do. She's like waiting patiently. I think she was adding the information. So Ryan, I'll come back to you. Need to separate the two of them now, make sure I'm not getting anything. The lady at the back, what was your name, please? Maxine. Okay, so I'm just tell me if they're for Maxine or for Ryan. Ryan, as I come back to you and your message, I want the importance of formality. I don't know if it's either a ceremony or a certification. There's something formal that she's wanting to mark. I feel that I'm recognizing something that's going on, like a formality of a service or a ceremony or an officiation, something important has taken part recently. Would you understand what she's talking about?
No.
she's now kind of moved on.
Like a promotion board, like sort of recognised for. So Brian, keep them. Sorry, it's me because I'm doing a useless job at separating the communicators. It's where the two are coming through. So Maxine, keep shouting out if that still makes sense because it's confirmation. Doesn't want to be left out. Maxine, is it your mum that's communicating as well? Yeah. Ryan, it's your mum that's communicating with me, isn't it? She's quite relaxed about this and she's not particularly pushy. Maxine, would you understand a bit more of a pushy mum with you? Like she doesn't want to be left out. There's a sense of justice. Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. just a load of old rubbish. But I want to get. I'm here now. I don't want my message. Right. Okay, Ryan, I'm with you at the moment. Okay. Sorry. So Ryan, she's showing me symbolically a heel fault. Okay. Now, whenever I see a heel fault, it's about elevating someone, picking them up, and getting them to sort of higher ground. Within that heel fault, she's elevating you into a tower. So I'm getting you up higher again, and then I'm fortification, right? There's an element of defensiveness. And she gets you to the top of the tower, and then she takes away the door. Right? So what is it you're showing me? And she's talking about the fact that she feels that you are at the top of the tower, and you've had this ascending, winding sort of staircase to get to the top. And actually, it's good because you're now there at the top, and now you're there, you can potentially pick up on any risks or threats because it feels that you've had a few things you've had to deal with. She's talking about impact, and I think that things that have had an impact in your life or even conflict. Whenever I see the things, it could be conflict. She feels you've dealt with them, but it'd be nice to see them coming. Okay, because it feels your resilience is taking a bit of the top. Right. So she puts you on the top of this tower. She goes, good. Now you're here. Not only can you see there are no immediate risks and threats, you can see opportunities and you can see what's coming on. And then you can decide when it's okay to leave the tower. Now she's talking about the element of, thank you. She doesn't want you to feel vulnerable or make you defensive because you feel vulnerable to leave the sort of safety of that. Because it feels like you've got yourself to a point that you feel a bit more stable. And she's talking about this sense that she doesn't want you to have to leave and feel vulnerable and defensive. But there's an element of you being able to drop the shield in order to let other things come close enough to you. Now, okay, thank you. A lovely sort of sense of view, because she was saying, keep the dagger in your right hand, put the shield down so you can shake hands with the left. And then if you don't like him, you can stay. And there's this element of like, you need to be able to fight back. She's not a violent person. I don't want to sort of start rumors, but would you understand her wanting to be defensive of you? Okay. So I don't want you to stay in the tower behind the shield because it feels like you need to be a little bit vulnerable to get out there and explore the art of what's possible. So she's wanting to tease that out of you, but she's like, I'm giving you an opportunity to whack them back, right? So there's that element, and it'd be okay because you won't need your shield. You're better lead with your left hand, and you're better shake hands. That feels like an important next season because she says you've gone through the other season, and as well as the safety of the tower, it does feel for me there's an element of, she's using the word destruction. In the same way that, a beautiful forest might need to burn in order for new creation and birth, she's talking about an element of destruction, an element of toxic season in the past, okay? And as we move forward, it doesn't feel like we're that far into the future. It feels like she's always giving that smell of burning, like you can still smell things that are on fire. Would you understand that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, within that, and I'm not going to go too much into private life, but she's got an element of persecution. Feels like you were picked on in some way because she was almost got you like tied to the stake as if someone was going to single you out and sort of picking that out. And she's like, you're off the stake, you're in the tower, the element of destruction, that's over there. And it feels like you've physically transitioned away. New season, new territory. Okay. So that feels quite exciting. So Ron, really important about that. And I want you to be able to drop the shield. I want you to be able to take a step forward. 7, 4, 6. Show me the numbers 7, 4, and 6 in sequence. I feel like it's linked to even, it looks like an account number. It's at the top of like a piece of paper or something that she's showing it to me. Itemized. Show me like lines by text. Were you going through some sort of itemization, some sort of...
No.
Almost looks like no, we don't have them as well, like a telephone number or something.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah, it makes it okay. That's what she was showing. Just evidence that she's around you and that she's paying attention. Nosy. I'm nosy. I like to know what's going on. There's an element that physically you were like my information and intelligence, because anything you saw or heard or felt, you could tell me about it. And I had sources, And this was important to me. Part of me living my life and making my decisions based on my values and my ethics were this element of my information and intelligence, the things I was getting in. So I like being in this position because all I need to do is think it up here and boom, I can be there straight away. So that's really important. I also know that you've been talking almost like at me or with me, and you've almost like been looking up. I don't know if you're almost even looking up at a sky or a cloud or something. She was looking up and thinking about it and then talking to me. Yeah. So she's saying I was listening. Okay, I was listening and I was trying to give that feeling back. She says there was a moment where you thought you then saw something and like the left-hand side, and she felt like she'd almost either brushed the side of your face or something, and like the hairs on your cheek. And she's claiming that was her attempt to try and evidence and verify that for you. Okay, Ryan, does that make sense?
Yeah.
She's telling about the fact that you've got this. You've got the courage. The next season awaits you. I'm excited for the opportunities because now you are where you are. Explore, experience the art of what's possible, but really importantly, on your time, do things that make you happy, Ryan, with people that make you happy, and march to the beat of your own drum. You've got this. You've absolutely got this, okay? And she's sending you lots of love and light and some laughter. She wants you to smile. She wants you to laugh and cry. She wants you to get it all out. It feels like you've been holding on to a lot, part of that resilience. And she's like, it's good because she's got a big girl knickers on. She can have a cry. She can have a laugh. As long as she doesn't have a sneeze, she'll be fine. Okay. And she's just having some fun with that. Okay. So, Ryan, you understand your communicator message? That was for you. Thank you very much, Ryan. Okay. And I'll pass the mic to, it's Maxine, isn't it? Yeah. Maxine, your mum a bit more direct with me. Less of a filter.
No filter.
Get on with it. Get on with it. Load of old rubbish, mediumship. Get on with it because I've got a mediumship message for you to pass on, right? Prove it. She's like, you're a medium, prove it. Pass this on. Would you understand that sort of thing? I want prove it. And there's that element. Not rude, just direct, without filter. Get to the point. Move on. You understand that? So that element of like, Ryan, your mum sort of said, I don't know her. She's like, all right, I know her. All right, and she's like, oh, if this works, then I'll have that. Okay. So Maxine, as I link in with you, and I get that element of her sort of personality, she takes me over towards the left-hand side of her body, and I've even an impact around my heart on my left lung. Would you understand that?
Kind of, yeah.
I feel like I've got something on my lungs. I don't know if it's either like a pneumonia or something like that. Does that make sense? Okay, so that she's giving me that sort of cause of death and that sort of panic. Nuisance, because I feel like I've either got a compromised or broken immune system, that something wasn't quite right, and I felt I just couldn't get better. And then before I knew it, it was end of life. Would you understand that? Okay, she's like consumed. And it was really annoying because I wasn't ready to go. I still had more to do. I actually felt I was more productive. I just said, this made me laugh. I did have more of a filter in earlier life professional life. I found like I was a lot more effective when I care less about what other people thought of me and I just got to the point. Would you understand that?
Yeah, she didn't really care what people thought.
It saved me so much time. I knew who liked me and who didn't. The list got smaller. My circle of trust was tight. And actually, the people that continued to tolerate me were the people that I held the dearest because they tolerated me, warts and all, and got on with it. Would you understand that? Thank you. She's talking about your mind and your brain, not necessarily processing things in the same typical way. She shows me a rainbow. Now, often when I see a rainbow, it can be about a spectrum of thought, neurodiversity or something like that. But she says it quite proudly that you don't think and process things in the same typical way, okay? Because she's saying I was very quirky, yeah? Would you understand that? And you got me. You're able to sort of plug in like an interface. That works well. So I thank you for that. Although she's very warm and endearing, and I quite like her, she's also said I was so irritable and I drove her mad, and she put up with a lot. Would you understand that, Maxine? Okay, so I'm not running her down because I feel like she will haunt me. You know, she knows this works, and she's saying I will, but that was me. She'd understand that. She said, oh, I could be a bit of a nuisance and I could be a bit irritable. And actually, she would recognize that as part of my personality. The letter S for Sierra. I don't know if it's either a Sydney or sound.
Both my children's first
Okay, thank you.
letter.
So I've got 3 little boys and I do lots of phonics with them. So because that's readily available to me as letters, then that's the sort of the noises I pick up on. And she's talking about a repetition of a name. It feels like there's an inherited name that keeps bouncing up within the family. And my middle name's Charles, for example. This is like a Charles is like inherited. My granddad was a Charles. For some reason, my dad never got the honour of it, but my uncle did. You know, and there are others. And one of my boys has got it. And she's talking about the fact I feel like I've skipped one, but there's a name that's continued. almost like either Charles or Louise, which is my sister's middle name. Would that make sense?
So they're both, my son's got my dad's name and my daughter has got my mum's name.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So that was why she was showing to that while that was that element. Thank you. There. Just trying to understand what she's giving me an image of a big bear. Okay. I'm just trying to understand what she's trying to say with that. Right. Let me just. She might be making fun. I'll say it as she's put it in my image because it might make more sense. So I know I don't look like an athlete and I wouldn't describe myself one, but I do play rugby. Yeah. Other old sort of fat dads with broken knees and things like that. But I got to play rugby in a competition, London Pride Sevens, which was an inclusive tournament, but most of the teams were gay men. And we're the barbarians, but for the day we were the barbarians because apparently bear within the gay community, we were told, on good form from our other rugby players that it was an affectionate thing for sort of big hairier guys within the gay community. Now, that's what she's sort of putting in. She's talking about my rugby shirt and the bear that we had on this shirt. Now, she was showing me that rainbow spectrum of colours. The other times that I see that rainbow spectrum is it's about love sort of being love. And she's talking about the bears. Would you understand why she's sort of almost like marking new territory by talking about the bears and the inclusive sort of sevens? That doesn't make sense. She just said to me, it's not me. Someone else might understand that. I'm just going to pause for a second, Maxine. I haven't brought the communicator in, but someone understand why someone will be making reference to the inclusive rugby world. Never thought I'd say this at women. Big gay bear men. Does anyone understand that on its own in about context? No hands. Okay. I just embarrassed myself, not just in front of the church, but on YouTube as well tonight. Okay, Maxine, I'll carry on with this at the moment. She has great delight in this. She's just called herself the puppet master. She says, you will just say anything that goes into your moment. And she thinks it's, although she's delivering the message with warmth and empathy, she's making fun of it. Would you understand that? It's just like, I can't believe it's that easy. I just think something and it's in your head and you just blurt it out without even thinking about what you're about to say. And look what you've just done. But thank you. I was going to sort of, from a respect or discipline point of view, I don't feel like I'm being ridiculed. I almost feel like I'm learning. It's like a learned experience. Would you understand? Almost like teacher or that sort of official. Like I feel that she's not trying to ridicule me or embarrass me. There's this element of I want you to be better. Would you understand that with her personality? Like she's oblivious to any other impact other than her intention, which isn't mean. She says, okay, she just said some of the time it was mean. Would you understand that with her?
A little.
Yeah, because she's like, just like comme ci comme ça. I mean, I don't know what even one of the French is about now, but she's like, I could be mean, but it wasn't my intention. If people thought I was mean, that was their problem because I didn't say it with mean intention. Okay. And she's sort of showing a mirror up to other people that made her out to be something that wasn't. Okay. Right. Something about a red lipstick. I don't know if it's either broken or damaged, but it's like I feel like it's still there. It should have been thrown or trashed away. Okay, that makes sense to you. She was giving reference to that, and she's talking about a bag. You've got my bags. She showed me like black bags or bin bags, but I feel like there's either a black bag with handbags in. She's talking about you having the bags.
Actually wearing her bag.
You're wearing her bag. Okay, right. So she's just making reference to that as well. And I know that she was talking about my middle name Charles, but I thought there was a Charlie.
That was her dad.
That was her dad. Okay, so she just mentioned that as well. So Maxine, you've understood the communicator apart from gay bears. Everything else made sense? Okay, right. Maxine, thank you very much. That was your message. I was about to say, if anyone wants to talk to me privately about gay bears, they can, but that would probably start rumours. That could be good for the book sales, I suppose, isn't it? Right. So my next communicator is still referencing this. So love is love, love is love, love is love. And I'm seeing that rainbow of colours. Now, the shirt we were playing actually not far from here at Mitcham, and I've got that purple lavender of sort of Mitcham. I've got a local person, there's got a male communicator. As this male comes through, he's quite cheeky, he's mischievous, possibly links to Mitcham in and around maybe even Poulter Park. I know we've got the purple of Wimbledon tennis as well. Mitcham Rugby Club are green and purple. The London rugby team actually play out of Mitcham Rugby Club as well. There's those links there. I think it's a locational thing because I can see the maps. So I'm between sort of Wimbledon, Mitcham, Poltercott, I'm around that area. I've got, and it's a younger man. He's a bit fun. I think this guy was actually in his 40s. And he said, you would say young because you're in your 40s. I said, oh, I didn't feel particularly young. And I see the number 4 repeated. I don't know if he was either 44 or it's just he's trying to say, I'm in my 40s, I'm in my 40s. And he's passed tragically earlier. Okay, thank you. I'm seeing the letter C. C is often symbolic of a cancerous type condition. It could be around a name. And I'm family. So someone here is going to understand this man. He's presenting himself in his 40s. That may not have been the age he passed. I've got links to in and around the area of sort of Potter Park, Mitcham, the lavender fields, the purple. I've got a cancerous type condition with him. The letter M's important as well. I feel like I'm on this side of the church. Anyone understand this? Man, spirit world, family, cancerous type condition. Is that someone at the back? I see a hat. Yep. Hiya. Do you understand all of this? So I can't hear you.
You said like letter M.
A letter M, yeah. M for
My boyfriend passed last Friday, and he was 37 and a half. So Max was his name, and he's from Guildford area. Heart attack is mentioned.
Impact around his heart.
Yeah,
Okay.
heart attack.
Would he have had links in and around the Mitcham Wimbledon area?
It's Ashvale, Guildford, Aldershot. It's
I keep seeing this the lavender purple sort of color. Would you understand otherwise the significance of the color, the purple, the vividness of that?
no.
Okay. Your partner, what was your name, please?
My name?
Yeah.
Mira.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't think all the stuff I was getting about Mitcham and rugby is him. But as we're talking and we're sort of forming a connection, someone's just popped in and said, I know her, right? And you've just fed me a bit of information. Let me see about the verification, right? Okay. So I've got, he is a bit more direct. So my other communicator was talking about, I was relatively young in his 40s. He's younger than that. I think you said 37. That's not me.
Yeah.
That's you saying that. Right. So this man, I think, is claiming to be your partner. Right. So don't give me any other information. Let me see if I can provide evidence that it's him communicating with you now. He spoke about impact around my heart. I feel I've either had heart failure or a cardiac arrest, because he's shown me like a vibration, like a fibrillating of my heart. And I feel I've had this impact. But he said, I feel like I've been overrun by some sort of, I don't know if I've had like a short infection, like an aggressive infection. I've been down, I've not been feeling right. But then boom, very aggressive, very quick, some sort of cardiac arrest.
Yeah, it was exactly that, cardiac arrest.
And I feel I've had almost no chance to go and see a doctor or anything. But he is talking about the fact that I feel like as it's happened, people have come to my help. And he's showing me the chest as if someone's put their hands on me. And I feel that someone is trying to bring me back. But he said at that point, I'd already gone. Would you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay. So I feel like I've passed and I've not recovered from that.
Yeah,
Okay,
it was
right.
like this.
And his name was the M. Yes. Mark sort of understand.
Max.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
So can you remind me of your name?
Mira.
Mia. Okay. Right. Okay. So it's okay if I work with you?
Yes,
Yeah.
sure.
Okay. And you told me very recent that this has happened. Okay. He's talking about the fact that I feel I haven't even. Right. There's someone's trying. Just to make sure I hear that right. He just said, someone's trying to bury me, but I want to be cremated. Would you understand there's some sort of talk? I don't feel that's been concluded yet. I haven't had my celebration of life.
No.
Would you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay. And he's talking about the fact there is a mixed opinion. And I'm like showing the scales of justice. He said, as far as I'm concerned, you should be in charge. There's a woman. I mean, he's talking about a woman that is also a mother and a sister. I don't know if it's his sister or his mother. Someone else is trying to call the shots and they're not listening to your voice. And you've got my voice. Would you
Yes.
understand that?
Yes.
I don't know too much in your private life, but he said, no, you need to do what you do. This is for you now. This is your next season. And he's laughing about it because he's like, I didn't really take that all too serious. And I feel that I should be able to laugh this off, but I know how serious it is. He said, I'm sorry, I'm not here. And I will sort them out, and I'll sort them out because I feel that there's now pressure on you and it's on your shoulders. And he's got you almost like you're stuck without a referee and someone to make decisions. But I know that you know what I wanted. And he said, just no fuss. Go try and spend as less money as possible. Have something for you. And if I had anything else that other than my problems and my issues and my debt, then you would get to run that. And would you understand that sort of side? I just want something simple, but I feel like someone else is trying to make it more about them. He said, I'm the one that died, but I feel like someone else is trying to make it about them, and they're not listening to you. And you have my voice.
I was a girlfriend for 3 years, and then his mother, of course, is looking after the funeral and his family.
Yeah, he's trying to make that sort of info absolutely clear. It feels that I'm going to use like faith and belief system. There's some sort of faith and belief system that my mum's sort of hanging on to, but she's trying to then use that as her coping mechanism. But it's not my faith and belief system. Like I'd pulled away from some of that. Okay, and I don't mean that disrespectfully, but I wasn't in the same camp that she was anymore, and you knew that. You understand that?
Yeah.
He keeps making me laugh because
He was a funny guy.
yeah. I don't think English, he's communicating telepathically, but he's talking about the fact that English wasn't a first language, like a learned language. And I feel like I'm multilingual. I've got multiple languages. Would you understand him speaking multiple languages?
He was English learning Spanish.
Okay. And he can communicate quite well with body language. He said he's quite good at understanding body language and picking up people's body language. Like my emotional intelligence was sometimes smarter than my overall intelligence, but I understood people. I understood people, and you understood me. That was really important. Thank you. I feel like September's an important. So my birthday's in September. I think he's trying to show me a birthday in September, autumn. The leaves would have been changing colour. Would you understand this anniversary birthday?
We met on September.
Sorry?
2022. We met in September 2022.
Okay. Okay, right. So I'm a Libra, and he was talking about sort of Libra starts September 22nd. I think I'm actually not.
It was end of September. Yeah.
Could be embarrassing myself in the church and YouTube again. I think. But he was talking about the importance of that because it feels like the cusp of it. And when we're talking about justice now, he feels that the more he understands about the universe, maybe there was something in that, but actually the idea of the stars aligning, our opportunity to meeting when we met was important because it feels, he's saying that like ships at night, it feels like we'd passed through circles, but only we got together then. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it was a big coincidence how we met. We met in the plane.
Yeah.
I was traveling to Spain, and he was the same on our own. And I like him. I wanted to say hello, and then I forgot. I arrived at the destination, but then coming back, he was in the same plane with me after a few days. So I said, now I have to
be. And I feel like we otherwise crossed like ships at night. And it turns out that the more we got to know each other, there were like friendship circles that had these occasional overlaps, and it was odd. Yeah. And I don't know if it's something like social media. I don't know if it's either like Facebook or something like that. But it's only when we had added each other's friends, we realised there were all these mutual friends. And actually, we'd obviously passed like ships tonight. So I believe it was meant to me. What I do know is that was a great time for me. And I was going to call him confident. He said, no, I was a bit cocky. I'm a bit cocky, right? Confidence, my charisma. He said, I think I was a good bloke and she made me greater. And I like to think that I did something for you in making you better, because there's an element of him being quite confident and cocky and a bit of charisma and a bit of charm. But he's like, I brought her out of her shell a little bit. Okay. Almost like you were perhaps a little bit more, like he was using the word timid, like you were a little bit quieter to begin with. And I felt like there was an element of you growing. You'd got over something, you said, don't bring it up. Just say it was some trauma. You got over that. And you have a new season for you. You were still getting to know you from outside the door and bringing you in. We met together. And I feel like this unity made us both better. So I'm grateful for that. Best thing that ever happened to me. And the universe, not satisfied with putting us together on the plane once, did it twice. Okay. And there's this element for him understand there's no such thing as a coincidence. Really important. Please continue to be my voice, but know that apart from your happiness and them getting over what they need to get over, it won't mean as much to me as it will to all of you. Okay. So it's about the funeral for them. They get the funeral that they need for me, because I'm already up here. I've got everything I need to be, other than the fact I want to be back here. But that being said, I miss the physical experience. I'm not in a rush. Things are quite easy going up here, and I quite like easy going. I just miss our physical. I think it was saying intimacy. I'm not going to go into that. I miss you, right? I'm going to leave it. And he's sending you his love and his light. But his love language was, we really care for it, physical, okay? Intimacy, touching you, hands, hugs.
Yeah.
I could make sure I'm not going into your private life. But he's quite saucy and he's a bit cheeky. And he's just saying, she'll understand. That was the way I communicate. I wasn't a man of lots of words, even though I knew them in different languages. She knows I communicated that way. And when I was held, that's when I felt seen. You understand that? Okay. I'm sorry you're having to go through what you're going through, but recognize now you are the ambassador. You have my voice. Do what you need to do to get what you want out of it. And I'm grateful. You lit the candle for me, he just said, and you put it printed. You printed or posted a new photo of me and you put a candle next to it. I really like that. And I felt really close to you. I'm working on how this all works, but it was a great thing. And I felt quite close to you. And yes, I did. He said he interfered with you. He deliberately put word. I was going to say he interfered with you in his stick. No, I didn't. Him. There's a dream. Right? It's a vivid dream that he says that you thought, was that a dream? Was that my memories? Or was it him? He said, no, it was more vivid than that, wasn't it? It was almost lucid, like you were in control. And we were walking together by the water. He said, yes, that was me communicating, okay? And that is the evidence for you, okay? I promise I've not been in your bedroom. I've not been to... It's all good.
Great there.
Right. He's cheeky.
Still dreaming of death.
Yeah. You know his personality. He says he's a little bit spicy and he's fun. And he's fun to be around.
He was a drummer.
In a way, I'm glad that I didn't have time to suffer about it. I wasn't prepared to go. They sort of almost said to me up here, oh, you had more time in you. But he said there was a defect in my heart I wasn't aware about. I didn't even know about it. So I didn't even have the lecture about changing my diet and my lifestyle, which wasn't great.
Yeah.
And I did dabble with a few different bits and pieces, which probably didn't help, put a bit of pressure on my heart. But I didn't even have the lecture yet. And I felt the defect, boom, and I was gone. And I'm sorry about that. Sending you lots of love. Lots of light, lots of laughter. Keep your head up off your chest. Get what you want out of this. You've got this. Okay? That was your message. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, folks, we've come to the next sort of part of the evening where Ivan Lee is going to come out and give you some evidence of life after death. Ivan is vice president at this church, also one of our ordained ministers of religion. So anyone thinking happy thoughts about weddings, blessings, naming services, then he's available for that to do. But great ambassador for our church. I'm sure most of you have come out tonight to see him, and we're so grateful to see you. Please do come back again. But for the time being, let's give a warm round of applause to Mr. Ivan Lee.
Fresh water, mate. Hold on, mate. Turn the camera off.
Yep, turn it off.
Evening, everyone. Evening, everyone. You all right?